Hey everyone, Chandler here, and I haven't filmed a video in a long time. What I wanted to do for this video was just kind of clear up some myths and misconceptions about being non-binary and me being on hormones and transitioning for a non-binary person, and what exactly maybe my childhood looked like and what I've been going through over the course of my life. So, without further ado, here we go. So the first thing that I want to say is I'm non-binary and I have body dysphoria. And that's something I've never really talked about on the internet, partly because it's very impersonal for me, and secondly, I'm not obligated to talk about everything that goes on in my life. So I never really felt like I wanted to talk about my body dysphoria, and I'm not going to get into details about it either, but I'm going to talk about a misconception that non-binary people never experience dysphoria, or body dysphoria in particular. Which, one, you don't need body dysphoria to be trans, and there are lots of binary trans people that don't have body dysphoria, and two, a lot of non-binary people can have body dysphoria. I've been vocal about my body dysphoria and how it relates to my voice. I did not feel comfortable having a high-pitched voice. I've been pretty vocal about that. I hate myself. I'm so sorry. But aside from that, I also have a lot of body dysphoria around how skinny and lanky and generally tiny I am. I wish I were more muscular, and I wish I had broader shoulders. So the next thing that I want to talk about is what being non-binary looked like for me as a kid before I knew what the word transgender was, before I knew what the word non-binary was. What did my childhood look like? So I remember that when I was a little kid, my favorite color was green because it's not a boy color or a girl color. And I remember before I started puberty, when I was maybe like 7 or 8, I was very young, I wanted a blend of masculine and feminine physical features. I remember I wanted to like pick and choose from these two puberties what exactly I wanted from them, because I wanted broad shoulders, and I wanted a jawline, and I wanted hips and curves, but I also remember that when I was younger I really wanted sideburns, so clearly I was a poor judge of taste. I just wanted a blend of these physical features, but it wasn't until I actually started going through puberty that I realized that wasn't exactly going to be an option for me. Or was it? I wanted to go on testosterone ever since I first thought that I was a binary trans boy when I was 14. I've been interested in going on testosterone for 5 years, and for some reason a lot of people thought that I only wanted to go on testosterone, and I thought about it for maybe 5 minutes and then I started. And when I was 14 I thought that I was a binary trans boy because I didn't realize that being non-binary was a thing that existed, and so I remember I felt uncomfortable when people referred to me as my gender assigned at birth, and I realized that the only reason I liked when people mistook me for a boy wasn't because I was a boy, but it was because it meant that I wasn't being read as my gender assigned at birth. But then I was like, well, I'm not that different gender either, so I must be something else entirely, because both of these things make me uncomfortable. I knew that I still had this body dysphoria, but I also felt weird because I knew that being read as a boy felt uncomfortable just as much as being read as a girl. The two things didn't seem balanced and they didn't seem right. And so when I came out as non-binary, I felt a huge weight lifted off my shoulders because I finally realized you don't have to be one of those two things if they both make you uncomfortable. But I still had body dysphoria because my body was still being interpreted a certain way, and my body still felt wrong in a bunch of different places, and I felt a lot of different things about my body. And I still felt those feelings from when I was a child about I want a blend of these androgynous features. I want masculine and feminine physical attributes. And I didn't know if that was something I was going to be able to have, which was why I was just like, nope, I'm never gonna go on testosterone because I can be androgynous now, because I had a flat chest, I could cut my hair short, there were a lot of different things that I could do to kind of be androgynous without hormones. So I felt, you know what, I don't need them because if I go on hormones it's gonna change my body way too drastically and I'll feel like I'm never going to be able to be androgynous ever again. Which isn't true. Fast forward when I realized I need to go on hormones. It was February, March-ish of this year when I had, we'll just call it a revelation, if you will. But it was a very, very dark time in my life. It was very frustrating. So I decided to go on testosterone for real this time because I've been on and off for 5 years on whether or not I wanted to go on testosterone. And so I started testosterone, and immediately, even just by mood, I felt better. But the first change that I saw being with my voice, and I've done like some testosterone updates, this isn't going to be like an update video, it's just more of a timeline about misconceptions. So if you want to see any of the videos where I talk about any of my changes on testosterone, I will link to a playlist down below, and there will be a card to my first month on testosterone, whichever side it appears on, I don't know. Then, after I had been on testosterone for a little while and I started feeling more androgynous, I felt a lot better about myself. It felt good to finally have a more balanced experience with my body. It felt a lot better to know that I was going to feel more androgynous physically, whereas I already feel more androgynous internally. And I'm now currently about almost 8 months on testosterone. And I've said before that I was going to go on testosterone for about a year and then see where I want to go after that. But I haven't been extremely fast on my transition. I skipped a bunch of shots because I wanted to transition very slowly. So I've done maybe like 2 shots per month or something like that. Like, I've gone very slowly, and I used to have a very, very low dose. And so I've been very, very thoughtful about how I want to transition as a non-binary person, because I've met a lot of binary trans people who are like, I just want to transition like tomorrow. I want everything changed tomorrow. I want to be 5 years on testosterone tomorrow, have top surgery, and all these different things. But that's not how I felt. I was like, I want to take this transition very slowly because I want to see this very gradual change to a middle ground rather than surpassing that to become a different extreme in terms of like my physical attributes. I recognize that our society is very binary oriented, and so I would rather be called male and female pronouns he, she, an equal amount of times. However, the end goal really is for people to not gender me at all and to just use they, them pronouns. But I'm also a realist, and I know that we're not there yet in terms of society being less gender oriented and gender focused. If you like this video, go ahead and like and subscribe and share it with some people if you think that it would help them understand a little bit more about what it might be to be someone who's non-binary and transitioning. And I will see you all very soon. Bye!